Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, let's talk about two secret methods or techniques used by Soviet psychotronic experts, otherwise known as radionic equipment. Now, there's two things noted in the secret Russian literature of how they used psychotronic devices and tools. It's very interesting information that I've never seen anywhere else, and of course this information is something that is for those very advanced students to get an additional technique to actually empower their units. And there's an actual color that you and of course, we're getting back to the photons, the color energies. It's very fascinating as we get into these things because you're activating what? You're activating psychoenergetic fields. You're not activating Hertzian fields. So I want to keep pounding that down everybody's throat because this is something that has been overlooked and not emphasized enough. You know, people keep using electromagnetic technologies, wires, other things to flow energy through when it has nothing to do with that because this energy is not in the electromagnetic spectrum. It's been proven time and time again. And one of the reasons why most radionic tools are pretty pathetic empowerment tools. Don't work all that well and kind of weak. But they still do amazing things. Even your most crudest units do that. But when you really look at all these things, we have to understand that the entire dialing process is kind of a joke. Now, we're going to put dialing out there for the professionals because there are some uses for dials. The ways of attaining numbers, checking rates on people as well. So there's a place for dials, but not what the average person is wanting to do. You want to send energy to you. You want to heal yourself. You want to empower yourself with money. You want to protect yourself. Dials don't mean anything, and you as a beginner or even a person who's had some background, it's really worthless. So we are, as I said, developing the ultimate radionic machine, which will be out probably sometime next year or maybe sooner, which will eliminate most electromagnetic parts, metal, etc. We're going to cut down on that as best we can, and we're going to override it. One of the other interesting things that we can understand is that electricity doesn't travel in the wire. It travels around the wire. Another thing that you can look up on YouTube, etc. So it's quite fascinating. Yet again, it proves the fact that the energy fields, when you wrap something around an electrical wire and you put electricity through it, well, you're picking up what's on the outside of that wire, not what's on the inside per se. So these are advanced understandings that are detailed in our Radionic Institute school, where we teach you how to make radionic equipment, give you all the ins and outs of radionics and also subtle energy physics, which my little mini course, audio mini course, will be coming out soon. And we have updated a lot of information in the Radionic Institute. So, I mean, there's really nobody else giving you information out there of any kind of value. I don't know of anybody who's teaching anything. They may have some little group or something, but they know actually nothing. And they're not really teaching you the bigger science of radionics, which has been figured out. And we know exactly what it is. And we can measure it and everything else. We know exactly on every single front. Eventually, I will have a meter that we can actually test these on. But we'll talk about it. So now, first of all, there's an actual color that when you're doing radionics that you shine it on. Also, there's a when you're doing that, or how the units are supposed to work in what environment, whether there should be along with the light or no light or whatever it is. Well, there are two things the Russians did that actually increased and made their equipment effective, which is quite interesting because you don't hear about this anymore. It's the same old story. People know absolutely nothing. They build craft boxes and goofball little things with no dials with no numbers, even on the board. They put toxic crap in it. All this for your little enjoyment so that you can fail and waste your money. Because we all know we're great, all these people with their poison organs that die in their 70s. So the whole idea is that it's pretty amusing. So the whole idea is this kind of trash technology that has plagued radionics for so many years is hopefully going by the wayside, and we're going to move over to tried and true technologies, but we have to go past it all. What is the next level of this amazing technology? Well, this amazing technology is here now. We're just developing it. It has to be done in a particular way. And again, you as the human instrument are the buffer, the filter, the guide to work with this technology. If it was some sort of turn this dial, flip the switch, this world would be in horrible, chaotic situations. So there has to be something that is special if these are awesome powers and abilities and techniques. Well, it is. And as the secrets are given to ancient and modern priesthoods, because they study, they meditate, they connect to the energy, because isn't that really what any kind of priest does? What is he doing? He's supposed to be able to talk to God directly, or the gods. Why? What's so special about him? Well, he's a trained professional. He spends all his time connecting to what? Well, the God. But what is the God? The God's an energy. So that's how it works, and you have to spend the same time connecting as well. And everything you do should be connected to your practice. You want to be a master? Well, that's what it takes. You want to be a baseball or football star? You carry your football around with you. I mean, this is what you do. You make sure that your football, American football, real football, not bouncy on footy garbage. So the whole idea is that you carry it with you. Baseball, always have a ball with you. Hold it, touch it, grasp it. You're becoming one with the energy of that sport. Very, very important. So what are you doing yourself? So do you have your cups? You have your t-shirts? I sleep in a t-shirt. I drink out of a radionic cup. Everything I do is hooked up to connecting me with the radionic energy fields. You should do the same thing. Get a stickers. Put stickers on everything. Put it on your notebooks. Put it on everything you have. This is what you can do to stay in contact with this energy. And what are you doing? You're conditioning your toxic mind to accept this as normal. Instead of something, oh, this is weird, I reject it. Well, this is what's happening with your toxic mind continues to do this. And it's basically a fight all the time between your toxic mind and your higher consciousness, your higher and lower self, your Christ-like self and your demonic self. And everybody has this within them for whatever particular reason, and these are pushed to the surface depending on what happens in the world and society. How do you get past that? How do you connect with one over the other? Well, you become one with that. So it's the same thing with everything. You should always have yourself connected. Always have pictures in the books that I have produced with the sigils. Always do that. Always have your pictures on the actual discs you have that come with the CDs, the audio training. Always have it. That's a subtle process. If someone could just hook up to an energy symbol and you turned into Superman, here again we would have problems. Life itself builds slowly, and there is a filtering, a protection. You just can't walk in and just grab what you want because you, on your egotistical, low-level manner, want empowerment. Well, again, if this was the way it worked, the world would be a bigger mess than it is. So we got to understand their filters, their buffers. This is what you do. A priesthood is empowered because they spend all their time connecting to the energy of whatever God, goddess, etc. that they're involved with. That's the key to it. The other thing is, what is the key to your stuff? So that means if you have energy cells or you have a particular energy cosmic code cell that's connected to your Triforce system, well, you make sure you wear that all the time except when you sleep. So the whole idea is that you always have your cells around. You're always thinking about them for fractions of a second. I have this on me. You touch it with your left hand. You don't have to think anything. You just touch it. By just doing that act, you are drawing the energy into it. This is how you grow in power. There's nothing out there that's going to instantly pop you in the bean, and all of a sudden, you're this powerful entity. Oh, you got initiated. They transfer. This is complete nonsense. Initiation means they're opening up the stream of information to you. That's what a master does. A master does this. So your life becomes this constant connection to it. So if you're in a monastery and you go to pray and you're wearing a robe and you have your necklaces, your crosses, your beads that you're constantly centering, well, what are you doing? You're connecting to that energy. So you can do the same thing with all the products that I've offered. And these aren't things just to sell to you. Not only are they fun, interesting, they're empowering. You wearing your t-shirt when you sleep? I do. Are you drinking out of one of the many cups we offer, the Extreme Abilities, the Radionic cup? And of course, you drink out of the Radionic cup, you fill it with whatever, and then you put a thought form into that design. Boom, it goes right into the water and you drink it. Now it's working slowly on you. Now, everybody would love to have this Superman effect. The interesting thing about Superman, as I've talked about in some past lectures, is that he doesn't do nothing. Because where he comes from, his planet, everybody is just kind of a weakling. When it comes to the planet Earth, he's a Superman. How nice. Isn't that how we all want? So, because you drink from this cup and use this design, you become a Superman. Well, all this stuff is a comic book fantasy. And the best thing we could do is to get rid of these comic book fantasies and deal with the real world is about. So instant empowerment doesn't happen. Some people have some natural abilities. I'm not sure how good or bad they are. It does seem to be some people have these abilities, psychic abilities, other abilities. Well, what does it all mean? So the whole idea is that it doesn't really mean anything because it's very rare. And I find these people make a lot of mistakes. They're not as powerful as you think. Yes, they can be very accurate and very good and do a certain amount of things, and they also fail a lot. And they also don't practice because they're lazy. They don't want to hone their abilities, and you have to do that. So this is all part of the process of empowering yourself. Now, getting back to these two secret methods. Well, these are very secret messages that are used within the, quote, intelligence community, the psychotronic warfare group, which is in the Soviet Union, etc. And this has been going on for quite some time. And they've been researching these things for a long time. They've had different types of, they call it more psychotronics, which are interesting type of tools that are unique in nature. They tend not to be, well, they do have traditional dial type units that professionals use, but they also have things that are shape vibrational based. They have a particular odd shape and internal parts that create an internal different shape, and this in itself then starts to create some sort of phenomenon. Now, none of this has been proved very well. I mean, Behind the Iron Curtain book that came out in the 70s talked about, Pavlita, and we've had some of these different actual little documentaries that are made there to show you these kind of tools, and he was able to figure out how to create energies just by using shapes. Very fascinating. A way to understand that is a pyramid is a shape, and it produces energy. It doesn't matter what it's made out of. Maybe some materials work better than others, but it's the shape that causes the energy. So these are very fascinating. Of course, this was what was originally done, and of course that changed into what we know as, in more modern times, as these radionic things that were kind of a hybrid of Dr. Abrams. Really, Ruth Drown took the industry over to England when she was harassed by the local gendarmes and arrested and everything else. Then it went pretty much nowhere. The Brits and she didn't do much with it, even though, interesting enough, that Ruth Drown had a history and an ability of assembling electronics, apparently, and worked in that industry for a while. So she had an electronic background, but it really didn't mean anything. She also had some very unusual energy conductive machines as well. So there was a lot of different things other than the classical unit that she used to sell to everybody, which is what's out there pretty much today. It doesn't make much sense. In terms of, it doesn't make any sense for electrical conductivity. It just has to do with a pattern. We'll talk about other things. That's in the new Radionic course coming out soon as well. We talk more about the guts of things. So, with the guts of things, but once it went to England, De La Warr took over, and all he did was really copy Ruth Drown's units there doesn't seem to be any kind of improvement in that whatsoever. A few different people have made machines. Most of them come from England. There really wasn't anything being made around that time because you were persecuted. They went around to all the chiropractors, took all the radionic machines out and smashed them with axes. That's what your good old LA district attorneys did. Kind of like Bugliosi did with the frame up of Manson and other people in that fake case there, which was just a contrivance of him. So very interesting. All contrivance, baby. It's all contrivance. So this is what happens again. So they went and destroyed all these machines, and I don't think anybody was making machines in the 50s and 60s in the United States, from what I could tell. Hieronymus was doing a little bit. Peter Kelly, who took over after Hieronymus, but I'm not sure about the time frame there. But it went to England, where it is legal, and died there. I mean, there's been no radionic developments whatsoever. The Radionic Association there, which Del War started with Ruth Drown, apparently, has kept things going to a degree, but I don't know that much about them, but I've never been overly interested in joining them because they really don't seem to do anything. I think they've finally come out with a correspondence course this year after 30, 40 years of not having it. They don't have their own equipment. They don't have a little museum. They have absolutely nothing, and it's kind of silly. Where is it all gone, and where are the people that should be doing things? And there's certainly, because of the big boost in and the takeover of radionics by Satanists, they have infiltrated that organization as well. So it's really kind of sad, and I'm not sure they know anything about it or not. They certainly should. This is one of those things that is a sad and despicable situation out there. So when we get into this, I mean, the kind of information that I have, none of these people seem to understand. They don't know anything about the literature of that. They haven't investigated it. And most of them know absolutely nothing. And it seems like the people connected to that organization are frightened little people that aren't interested in doing anything but filling their own pockets, as certain people connected to them are. So I don't know what's going on there. There's been some question about whether these people that were practitioners there as well. Some have claimed that they got involved with treating people and started cursing and hurting people. There's weird stories there, which I'm looking into right now. But let's get back into the Soviet secrets. Well, the Soviet secrets are this. I'm afraid there is no secrets you're getting here on YouTube. If you want to get the secrets of what is in power these type of devices, you have to go over to Patreon. And join Patreon, or go over to All Access, where you will be able to get this information. Lifetime's worth of study, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that have been put into my research, and of course the classes and everything else. Well, quality information isn't given for free. So those of you who are interested in this field, that are radionic practitioners, etc., if you're not supporting this organization on Patreon, or even less money, only about $8 a month or $100 a year, you can be an all-access member and support the only organization, not the only, one of the very, very few organizations that are involved in radionics that are positive. I think there are two others that I know of in the United States, and we just don't know. Most of them, sadly enough, radionics has been taken over and is being used and abused by Satanists who wrangled control from the radionics back many years ago. And everyone should be aware of that, what happened with the satanic craze of orgone started by a Satanist who has perverted the industry, and his cronies are still out there doing their evil deeds. So why is that? Because you supported frauds and liars and didn't listen to the truth sayers like me who've been telling you this for years. Where were you? Well, you're going to get the garbage they give you, the toxic stuff that kills you, the crappy machines that don't work. Welcome to it. And spend those money, because they've raised all the prices, and you'll spend close to $1,000 to get one of their crap machines that don't work from an ignorant, buffoonish Satanist who wrote books 25 years ago that were garbage back then. So that's what you're going to get, people. Start getting out there and doing things for the light. Go out and do things for people who know what they're talking about. Then you'll get all these amazing things on the new technology that's coming up in our new Scion generator. But this ain't going out to the masses, people. This first goes out to my supporters, those who are with the light, those people who want to do something. They get the first opportunity, and they will be getting the information as well. There's no free lunch, people. Those who have not supported this organization, you're why Radionics is controlled by Satanists. Simple as that. You didn't support the right people. You supported the scum, and now you're paying for it. And the list of dead people in graveyards that have used this orgone stuff is enormous. People who all of a sudden got cancer and died, all of a sudden didn't even live to their natural lifespan that we should be. It goes on and on with this fake orgone stuff. And to think that anything has much energy when it's a little resin, a little BB stuck in resin, like they've been doing as these little good luck charms that they're selling out there all over the world, this is just a joke. Yeah, there's probably more energy in a rabbit foot. Until next time.